That's all. Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Allie, and today we are taking on another IKEA hack project. It has been a while since I've tackled a bigger IKEA hack furniture piece. I've done my nightstand in my bedroom, and also this was kind of a pseudo IKEA hack right here. And I'm very excited because today we're going to be transforming the IKEA Ivar cabinet. I picked up the cheaper end one that's a little bit smaller, comes in 2 different sizes, and it's a perfect blank canvas for a DIY project. I have a couple ideas that I am thinking I want to do, but I want to walk you through my design process. So let's go to the drawing board. My intentions with this cabinet is to put it in my living room as a place that not only acts as a place for decor, but also some storage, which I desperately need in that space. So I compiled a Pinterest board that is full of different ideas and inspiration that I am hoping to pull in for this cabinet. And as I was creating this board, I realized there are 2 different elements that I need to mix in to make this cabinet fit best in the space. The first is that it has to incorporate a little bit of that mid-century modern style, because I have that in other elements of my living room, but my own personal taste is starting to lead toward the transitional style, so I want to bring that in the cabinet as well. So I have out my drawing tablet and I want to come up with a little bit of a sketch for my idea. Here is the basic Ivar cabinet right here. It's basically just a box with 2 doors. Now with those doors though, I envision having an arch shape in each of the doorways to create this really cool kind of cutout effect, and then putting plexiglass right underneath that. I think it's going to be a very special detail, pulling in some of that mid-century modern type look, but it's also a nice just feature that I'm seeing in a lot of design trend right now. Now in order to bring in a little bit more of that transitional element, I envision putting a little wood top on this piece and trimming it out with a nice detailed piece of trim. And I think I need a piece of furniture with some height in my living room, since mid-century furniture is pretty low profile. So underneath the cabinet, I want to add some sort of drawer or faux drawer kind of feature where I can still use that as extra storage in the space. And then for some additional height, I also do want to add some sort of legs on the piece. I'm not too decided on what those are going to look like at this point. As far as color palette goes, I want a painted exterior with a stained wood interior that's pulling in some nice kind of medium, rich, warm wood tones. So that is the game plan for this cabinet build. Now you've seen me using power tools here on this channel, but I will say I'm still learning them. So for this project, in order to fulfill that vision that you just saw me recreate, I think I need to call in a special expert. Ready? Just do 1 clap.
Okay.
1, 2. That syncs the audio.
I see.
I can't do it because I'm holding this. And my special guest for this DIY project is my dad.
Hi.
So we've already done a little bit of work on the project. Let me show you what we've done so far. So here's the basic IKEA Ivar cabinet. We already have the doors right here. They are not attached to the cabinet. We wanted to leave them off for this project to start. And what we did first was replace the MDF or whatever that particle board was that they gave us for the Ivar cabinet, and we replaced it with a piece of 1/4-inch plywood. So that is looking way, way better. And then over on the sides here, we also took the screws because they are exposed on the outside, and we recessed them in just a little bit so we can cover those up and you'll never know they were there. We're using 3/4-inch MDF to build out the cabinet because 1, it's cheaper than plywood, and all of these areas are going to just be painted anyways. So we first cut down 3 pieces of MDF to be slightly larger than the top and bottom of the Ivar cabinet. This will form the top, middle, and base that we are adding to really elevate this piece. We also used a circular saw to cut the pieces to the proper width. Now we're attaching those pieces using liquid nails as the adhesive to apply the top and brad nailing it to hold it into place. And we just repeated these same exact steps on the bottom. Now we're cutting down our pieces to make the base cabinet that we're wanting to create on this piece. And if you want the exact measurements for this project, let me know in the comments. If there's enough response, I'll create a blog post with full project plans. Now we cut down a couple half-inch pieces to create supports for the building of the base cabinet. Now this is a really great way to do this instead of using some sort of metal L-brackets or hardware, and it does not require pocket holes, so this makes it pretty much universally friendly for a beginner furniture builder. We use generous amounts of wood glue for this project because the extra strength and security it gives basically means that the nails that we added with the brad nailer are only there to hold the pieces in place until the glue dries. And then we added the base to the cabinet. We're attaching the front of this faux cabinet with a piano hinge. And now it's time to make the doors. We cut down 2 doors to the size of the original doors, but added a little bit of extra width to them because the original Ivar doors actually have this very unattractive visible gap. So I wanted to hide that with the new doors we're constructing. The original plan though for myself was to cut the arches in the doors with my jigsaw, but my dad suggested we use a router and a DIY arm attachment. That way we got a really precise arch, and he even let me try out the router for the first time, which was such a cool experience, and I can see why this would be a very useful tool if I continue with furniture building in the future. And as we're building this, I want to give my dad a huge thank you for helping me with this project. My dad is truly the reason why I got into DIYing and fell in love with the idea of building things from scratch because of what he's taught me just growing up, and it was just so awesome to be able to work with him on this project and learn some new skills and new tools. And so I just want to say thank you, Dad, because I know you're going to be watching this video, and this really meant the world to me to have your help for this project. Once both doors were cut out, we filled in anything that needed it with Bondo and then sanded it smooth. And then we needed to recreate the same holes on the original doors on the new doors for the hinges because we are going to be using the IKEA hinges that were provided with the Ivar cabinet. And then I just let my dad handle the installing of the hinges. The very last thing that we did before I was going to have to pack up and head home was score and split a sheet of plexiglass in half. It was already the perfect size for the doors when we bought it at the hardware store, and I'm simply going to attach the plexi pieces to the doors using mirror clips. And then with all of that done, my time at home had come to an end, and it was time to take this cabinet back to my apartment to finish it. I am back home in my apartment after my trip home to visit my parents, and I have the cabinet here in the best that we could get it done in the short amount of time that I was able to spend on that trip. So the doors are on, which they look great, as well as that bottom cabinet feature that I added to it. Now today I have a couple of things that I just want to tackle to move this project along, and that is I want to add some trim around the edge that is on this cabinet here because it's looking a little bit plain, though I do kind of like the style of this, but I think this will elevate it just a little bit more. And then we'll kind of do some of the finishing touches because we'll then be moving on to the fun part, which is making this look less like MDF. the 4 different stains that I want to sample for the inside portion of this cabinet. Some of these are from my collection, some of them are new, and I have one that I think I'm leaning toward, but it's a new one, so I do want to swatch them first. This right here is the original door to the cabinet. Since I am not using it anymore for this project, it is the perfect surface to test out different stain samples and know exactly how it's going to react with the inside of the cabinet. The first one I'm going to try is Golden Oak, and I'm not sure how I feel about this one, but I will give it a try and see what this looks like. Oh, that's pretty. I am actually surprised by the results I got from this little test sample. It goes to show you that you should definitely test your stains and finishes before you commit and apply one. So I originally was leaning the most toward this Ipswich Pine. However, if you look at the little clip we have right here, it just doesn't look good. It brings out all the pink and red tones in the wood. Now, I definitely knew that I probably wasn't going to pick Special Walnut, but I did want to put a darker color on the board to see what it looked like. Now, one that I really liked as well is Driftwood. However, I think I have a different project in mind to use with this stain instead that it will be a little bit more fitting for. So that leaves me with the one and only winner that is left for this project, and that is this one right here, which is Golden Oak. I really liked how this one looked. I think it brings in a nice medium warm tone, which is exactly what I wanted. So we are gonna go with Golden Oak as the winner for the inside of this cabinet. Guys, I don't think I'm happy with how this stain turned out. It has a bunch of different flaws. The color doesn't quite match the sample, and I let this dry for a little bit. When I came to look at it, which I wasn't filming at the time, my just initial reaction was it just wasn't right. Now, I will say I have lived with this for a couple days, had time for it to sort of grow on me, and my fear of moving to a darker color stain, I didn't want to do that. That's just not what I envisioned for the project. I didn't want to paint it, so I think I'm just gonna let the color live. However, there are some issues with it. I did find that some of the red pigment in the stain that I used settled to the bottom, and when I got near the bottom of my can, it left that red pigment on the cabinet itself. I wasn't sure how to fix that, so I think what I'm gonna do is just go in with a little bit more of the same color stain with a brand new can of it to try to blend that and mix that in and maybe try to kind of revive this cabinet and start moving back toward that vision, because I just don't want to change this or make it go darker, especially since I have plans for a darker paint color. That's all. After the stain dried, I did off camera apply 2 coats of a satin polyurethane finish to the stained part of the cabinet. And now we're moving on to where we're getting close to painting. Not quite there yet, because the first thing I want to do is attach the legs. So I picked up these leg hardware plates that I'm going to attach to all 4 corners. And then I will talk to you about what I chose for the legs of this furniture piece. All of the leg plates are on, and these are the legs that I picked out for this project. I really liked this style because it's not the traditional turned wood type style that you find at the hardware store. I did, however, pick these up at Home Depot, so they are very accessible. And I liked how the detailing on the leg actually matches the trim that we put on the face of the cabinet. So this is gonna flow nice and cohesively and be so easy to just install by just screwing them onto each of the leg plates. The cabinet and I are now matching outfits, but that's because I applied the coat of primer in order to apply our paint paint color. So I went with the gray primer this time once again because I am going to be doing a darker paint finish. Since the wood tone of the MDF was already dark, I didn't want to go from dark to light then back to dark, so a gray primer, or gray tinted primer rather, is definitely the way to approach a project like this. Let's talk about my paint color here. I picked up Behr paint. I got it at Home Depot, and I picked out this color pretty much before I even had the full vision for this cabinet, and it is the color Blue Metal. And I really like that it's a nice steely blue color, and I think that's gonna just pop really nicely with the stain color that we chose. So I'm gonna get 1 to 2 coats of paint on the cabinet, and we'll go from there. I have my fingers crossed that this only is going to need 2 coats. The cabinet is looking incredible. I just put the doors on for the first time. The shelves are in, and I am just blown away with how this project is turning out and the fact that this started out as an IKEA cabinet. But we're not done yet. We have 2 finishing details left to do, and the first one is adding the hardware. I wanted to very specifically find hardware for this cabinet that I kind of curated for the piece. So first I picked up these teardrop style brass knobs. I got these off of a seller on Etsy, and they are just beautiful. I love this look because it really pulls in that antique style that I'm going for with this cabinet. Then for the lower compartment, I debated whether or not I wanted to do just 1 pole or 2, but in my research I found some more of these antique style cabinets generally have 2 small poles. So I picked up 2 of these really pretty looking brass poles as well. I got these off of Amazon. I'll be sure to link them in the description box. With the knobs on, all I have left to do is add in the plexiglass that was already cut down and the final reveal. I cannot believe how well this cabinet turned out, and the fact that this started as just a simple, basic IKEA Ivar cabinet and then now is transformed into something that perfectly matched my vision going into it. I love the color, the way that the natural wood looks along with the paint, and the subtle details of the trim and the beautiful brass hardware. And I love that I added that little extra functionality to it, so it's not just for home decor, it also has a dual purpose. It really was a challenge where I was able to get in there, try new power tools, get a little bit more comfortable with my furniture building skills, and then the result is just blowing me away. I seriously don't have words to describe how happy I am with the final result. Now this cabinet, as you can see, we left it blank on the inside, did not fill it out with a bunch of decor and things like that because I don't want to give away the grand reveal. That's going to be coming up in my living room makeover video, and you're not going to want to miss it. So don't forget to hit subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and while you're at it, also give this video a like. Thanks so much for watching this video. Stay crafty, and I'll see you next time. Bye.